You tuned into a Star Wars: The Old Republic podcast. Transmitting on frequencies across the galaxy. Covering the game so all you have to do is play it. This is Old Republic Radio.
Welcome to Old Republic Radio, broadcast number 44. Hey, Old Republic, we're sure glad you could join us again this week for an exciting show. This week, we're going to be talking a lot about the Gamescom presentation for Star Wars: The Old Republic. We're going to be talking about that new teaser trailer for upcoming content, and we'll be talking about the newly revealed race that will be added to Star Wars: The Old Republic. Also this week, your emails. Plain and simple this week, folks. Not a lot to talk about, but we just wanted to go ahead and get the show out, have a little fun with you. And your emails, I am looking forward to, because there's some fun ones this week. So that's the show. Here comes the cast this week. Joining us this week is our lead writer. He is Clindell.
For Ivan Laugh Dubstep, just go to mogradio.com.
He's the granddaddy of all MMO gamers. He is Surtas.
Yo.
He is our master of PvP. He is Denver Drew.
If you're out there running, keep going. We're here with you. We're going to entertain you.
If you like campfires and kumbaya, you need to hang out with this guy. He is Oakley.
Yes, I agree with that, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah, you suppose. Why don't you just whip out the acoustic guitar, you sissy? Just kidding. And last but not least, he is our guest, but also a new member of the Mog Radio team. Please welcome JB.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome aboard.
Thanks.
There we have it, folks. That's the show. This is the cast. Old Republic Radio starts right now.
Dark side.
Okay, so last week we had some Gamescom going on, and EA, of course, was there presenting, and then the new general manager of BioWare Austin, in charge of Star Wars: The Old Republic, came out in Germany and gave a little presentation about what we can look forward to in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So why don't we just go and talk about that presentation real quick, and just kind of glean what you guys think about it. Right up front. Why don't we just go ahead and start off, Denver? Why don't we start off with you? What were your initial thoughts when you kind of saw that presentation?
I had kind of mixed feelings about it, but I think that the content video that they brought out and talked about was, certainly worthwhile. They addressed the free-to-play stuff, which I think was good. I don't know how I feel about the new gentleman that's kind of running the show over there, but
okay.
And then certainly we had a laughable trailer.
Yeah, let's leave that one at the end.
We're not discussing that. We're not discussing that yet.
Let's go. I guess for me, I got to ask the question of, do you wanted to start off the presentation? Let's excite the audience. Hey, we have cartel coins now. It's like saying that it's like Monopoly coming into a presentation going, we have fake money. It's like, all right, woo, so exciting. I mean, I don't know, is cartel coins really the place they needed to start, Oak?
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah,
I think mentioning it was good, but if they really were going to talk about it and really open the sucker up with it, they should have gone a little bit deeper into, why it's going to be good and a little bit more into the system. It just really felt like they were nothing was really deep in the conversation. It was very short presentation, and it didn't have much to it. I mean, the whole presentation was 7-8 minutes, something like that.
If even that.
Yeah. So it was just they were essentially mentioning information we already knew. That's pretty much all they were doing.
Well, I just found it really interesting. I mean, okay, let's go back to you, Denver. I'm sorry, because you said something really interesting. You're not sure if you are. What would you say about the new general manager of BioWare for Austin?
I'm not sure if I'm I don't know.
Inspired by the guy?
Yeah, he seems a little dull to be the guy talking about it, and like the guy that introduced him. My favorite part about that, other than the stuff we'll talk about later, is
Peter. What's his name?
Yeah,
right, now we're going to listen a little bit from Star Wars: The Old Republic.
No,
right?
no, but what he said was he caught himself. I think what he wanted to say was our latest hot property.
Yeah.
And what he said was our latest new property. I was like, oh no. Oh no.
That just hurts.
He
right,
had to catch
right.
himself.
That hurts.
Ugh, that's
well, okay.
sketchy.
What is it about? This is probably his first games presentation. What about it kind of struck you as a little off?
All right. Well, here's what it is. You have two basic things. Let me just give you the analogy. It's like having what's a good one? Perfect. It's like the transition from Steve Jobs to Tim Cook. There's just not the same amount of flair. The information still comes across. Everything's still fine.
Sure.
He's still competent. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
absolutely.
he doesn't have that pizzazz that that like the Jobs brought to the table. It's just not the same thing, and it's kind of disappointing when you go, oh, but I liked that old thing that used to happen. And then now there's this new thing, and it's just, again, I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll get used to him, but especially when the game is in kind of a transitional period and things aren't going great, he should be really fired up about the new direction, and he just like he couldn't have cared less. I don't know.
I might have almost even just hired Mark Hamill. Like, hey, Mark, could you come out to Germany real quick? Just do this quick 5-minute piece for us.
Yeah, and Mark would have killed it because Mark's a professional and fantastic.
I don't know. Certas, minus the end of the thing, what'd you think about presentation?
There was a Gamescom presentation. I
Yes.
saw something, so I watched EA's Gamescom presentation, and then I blacked out for about 7 or 8 minutes, and then it came back on. So, like Need for Speed was awesome. And Crysis. They talked about Crysis,
Thank
right?
you very much, Certas. That was very productive, and thanks for adding to the conversation.
Okay,
there,
really. Denver
sir.
covered it all. The guy seemed boring, and he instilled no fervor or fervor, however you pronounce the word.
Right.
I wasn't excited about Old Republic because of him.
Right. This is my question. We just got done arguing last week why they chose to go to Gamescom, and if this is why they're skipping Star Wars Celebration 6, they shouldn't have skipped. I mean,
agreed.
If all they're going to do is hand out, hey, we're doing cartel coins, why do you start there? Why don't you start with the new content, move into the, hey, we're going, and by the way, all this is going free to play, rather than, hey, we're going free to play. Oh, and we're doing this. And
then to say in the middle of your presentation, we believe in free to play. Do you? Do you really believe in free to play? Really? You're just joshing. Is this the April Fool's show?
The whole choice of this guy, the way he came off at least, just screams to me this is EA handing down. This is who's going to run it. He's going to get us back in it. And the only reason I can think of that they start off with, we have cartel coins, is because we have this thing that you can buy. Please give us money. We want money. We need more money to be solvent in this game. They really needed somebody who's a fan, who's going to fire up people, as Denver said.
Yeah.
As I said a couple episodes back, bring in a fan, someone who can help push things in the right direction to win back the fans.
Yeah.
Right now, they're trying to win over the industry with, hey, we're doing stuff to make this game right, and they're trying to save their own butts, but it's not going to help. They need someone who's going to breathe life into the game and not suck it dry with microtransactions.
Well, I don't know if it's going to suck it dry. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, it's not going to be sucked dry with microtransactions.
It's hyperbole. It's hyperbole.
Okay.
It's just this guy that just did nothing. I was completely nonplussed. I could have not watched that entire presentation.
I'm sorry, Kel. You were the guy saying, "Hey, this is what they're gonna drop the bomb at Gamescom."
They did drop the bomb.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. We will get to the bomb. We will get to the bomb. Okay, let's all just hold our horses. I know we're just chomping at the bit to get to the end of this presentation, but we're gonna get to one more thing.
All right.
So they come out and they say, we believe in free to play. Oakley, do you believe that? Do you believe that they believe in free to play? That they're all behind it 100%? They think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I unfortunately have to say no, and that's based that's not based on my opinion. That's based on comments that they've said in the past, interview that we have had with them personally as the podcast. And I believe, I don't remember exactly the way the question was answered, but it was essentially, are you guys
premium?
Thinking,
we are a premium MMO delivering premium content.
Precisely.
We are not looking into free to play options at this time. That's what they said. And that was at PAX East. That was at the beginning of summer.
Right. And that's, they were just emphasizing their point where we're a AAA title. We feel that the content we're putting out deserves the subscription-based system. And that was that. And now, fast forward a few months, and we believe in free to play.
Sure.
It's hard to believe them there. It really is.
Well, let me ask you this though: do you think the shift in management at BioWare in Austin is partially because of this going free to play? So that maybe personally, this new guy coming up on the stage saying we believe in free to play, that's just the case because that's exactly what this guy wanted to do.
Is that possible? Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't work there, and I don't know enough. But yeah, absolutely, that's possible.
Okay, cool. Kel, go ahead and jump in here again.
I think they believe in it, but I think that their driving focus can't be the free-to-play model. Their driving focus needs to be making a good game,
right,
and let everything else come out of that. And that is, I guess, the one thing that I was left with their presentation at Gamescom, and why I was a little bit disappointed with it. They started off with the free-to-play. They should have started off with what makes the game good. Because with all of its issues, it's still a good game and a good base, and it can be built off of and done so wonderfully. And that's what the fans of the game know and hope for and want. Right. And they need to latch onto that.
I agree with you. I was hoping for something a little more out of the presentation, and boy, did EA and BioWare deliver. At the end of the presentation, if you watch this Gamescom presentation, what you'll find at the very end of the presentation is a video they're working on to highlight their free-to-play, which is I believe, a commercial. Is that not correct, gentlemen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a commercial, all live-action actors running out of their apartments or grabbing their lightsabers out of their dresser drawers and, running out, and everyone's clashing in the middle of these streets. And I flashed back to Lotero days, because I remember a day when Lotero was doing the same advertisement of people running out of the apartment building going, and I'm like, wait a second, this is Lord of the Rings with lightsabers. This is the exact same commercial. It freaked me out a little bit. Oakley, just get in here. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this thing?
Yeah. So we're gonna make an official.
You have them both, don't you?
Yes. I do. Yes.
Are there any differences? I mean, really?
Yeah, not much. Pretty much here it is. It's official. We are now going to keep tallies of how Star Wars: The Old Republic is going free to play the same way that Lotero went free to play. Okay, we're announcing. Really? We're announcing we're going free to play. We were subscription based in the past. We're going to keep subscription based. That's number one. Two, let's come up with the cheesiest live action commercial we can possibly do for free to play and get it out there so we can get people in the game. So that's number two. We will keep track over the following weeks.
Very good. Denver, I've got to ask a question. I watched this commercial. Everyone here has watched the commercial. If you saw that commercial, would you be like, oh, I've got to get to Star Wars: The Old Republic online right now?
I think I would more so be like, what the hell just happened? I literally watched that and I went, oh, okay, all right. So we're going with the Lotro thing because I felt the same way as soon as I watched it. I went, oh, good. Only missing Gandalf. Okay. So, yeah. So
maybe they got the same director. I don't know, but man, that was like dead even. To
well,
the Lord of the Rings
if
Online
they got the
commercial.
same director, they need to fire that guy because what he did was just blatant plagiarism. But regardless of that fact, I think there are so many great things that they could have put in. There are so many things, so many selling points for this game, and
Right.
the epic storyline, all the cool gear that you can get. You're wielding a lightsaber, you're firing a blaster, you're in the Star Wars universe. So why do you want to sell this as if you're in reality? Like that's not a good way to sell the game at all, in my opinion. They not only missed the mark, they just went and just mumbled their way through.
Oh my
I
Lord!
would much rather if they'd done it with cinematics and done something really epic within the game. That would be awesome. But I swear to God, if they come back and when they finish this commercial, if it ends with someone saying, "May the free be with you," I will kill someone.
I just had an aneurysm.
If that comes out and it says "May the free be with you," I'm uninstalling the client instantly.
And just
I'm
for our
done.
listeners who haven't seen the Lotro commercial, they ended the Lotro commercial with Gandalf saying, "You shall not pay."
Right? They did too.
Yes. Yes.
That is not a joke, people.
so
that happened.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sir Toss.
Okay. Kellendale made a comment that they were sucking the life out of the game.
Yeah.
And you know what I thought of when he said that? This is a oldie but a goodie. I thought of the space vampire and Buck Rogers. That's all.
I mean, seriously, man. Where's the contributions tonight? Space vampires from Buck Rogers. Okay, why not?
That is a contribution. It's a contribution.
BioWare has
a game.
enlisted the vampire from Buck Rogers.
Okay, here's the thing.
Go. Get in here.
They made statements at the beginning of the summer that the
Yes.
content they were putting out is worthy of a subscription. And you
Yes.
know what? Damn it, they were right. And
Yes.
so I think that's why it bothers me that they're going free to play, because I feel like you're selling out on your own content. You might as well flip. Let's run to be president, and then let's flip-flop. Let's give up 2 days after, say, well, I really didn't want the job. He'd be a better person to do it, so I'm going to step down. It's a load of crap. You have a game that people are willing to pay for. All you have to do is fix a couple little things. And personally, I don't think this is BioWare at all. I don't think BioWare is running this show. I think somebody else is screwing this chicken. And they're going to screw it right into the ground.
Go
you
get him,
blaming
Sir Toss.
You blaming EA there, Sir Toss?
I sure as hell do. I think this is nothing but money. This is all about money. And that's it.
Got to be. It's got to be. It's the gaming industry. You've got to make
It's
money.
right. You got to make money. But here's the thing. I've believed this all my life. If you take care of people, people will take care of you. If you take care of the rabid Star Wars fan base that plays your game by providing them with great content, by providing them with ways that they can really live and be a part of Star Wars, those people will show up, they will pay, and they will evangelize. I said evangelize. Evangelize your game along with all the other Star Wars canon. But you got to have faith in the people and believe that they will come. You got to put the content out there, and you got to back it up, and you got to stand behind it, and you got to say, this is it. What you say is you shall not pass, meaning that you won't pass bad content. That's what that means. And that's what they need to do.
If you build it, they will
So,
come.
Sir Toss, I am not sure if I'm picking up everything you're putting down. So you liked the commercial?
No, the commercial sucked. The commercial sucked. No, but seriously, they really needed to stick with what they were saying. Stick to their guns. Don't flip flop. And now they look weak. And I mean, that's my opinion about it. as Parasite said, it's still a subscription game as far as he's concerned. And I'm adopting that viewpoint that it's still a subscription game. All this free-to-play stuff, I'll ignore as long as I possibly can. Okay. But if they start pushing these coins on me and start pushing all this other stuff, hey, come in here and buy this. Oh, we're going to come out with a new world, but you got to pay for it. Okay. We're going to come out with new missions. We got to pay for it.
You're not going to do that, though, because if you stay subscribed.
Yeah, okay.
Seriously, though, that's what they said.
Well, no, wait a minute. Okay, so we all know that this was clearly a move that was motivated by money, but let me put the brass tacks to that. Okay. Certas always brings up the point of the 500,000 subscribers to break even. Okay, the last call that they had for EA said that they still had around 1 million subscribers. So we have 500,000 that are profitable. Okay,
yeah.
And they said that 40% of the people that left the game said it was because of the subscription fee. So they're assuming that if they can get half of that back, so 20% of those people back, they're adding on another 200,000 people, assuming, presumably, another 200,000 people that they could potentially get back. This is just for money. They think that they can make more with these people, but I've got to agree with Certas. I think if they had kept the game and kept pushing it and pushing the content out, I think they probably could have regained some of their footing. But ultimately, they've already made the choice, and certainly it does seem like it is. It certainly does seem. I don't know. Seems like BioWare isn't bought in to EA's idea, based on the presentation.
Ooh. Wow.
Yeah, I think that's
pretty profound.
I think they're going, well, okay, I guess if we have to, if that's the direction that EA wants us to take, they're the ones footing the bill. So they go, all right, you make it happen, and everybody's like, and now we're announcing a free-to-play option where you can come back for free and play the game, and you have cartel coins.
That's exactly how it sounded.
And we really believe in free-to-play, and we've always believed in free-to-play. And I hate it when... Here's what I don't like. I don't like it. Here's what's bothering me, and I'm not trying to turn this cast into a bitch fest, but the Gamescom thing really brought it out in me for a second. Was, when we first started this journey together, Old Republic Radio, the one thing that I had to say that I could say about BioWare was the communication was wide open and it was honest, and I think that there's a little bit of disingenuousness when we say, oh, we completely believe in the free-to-play system when you didn't start that way. I mean, if you really believed in it and you thought that was the best route for the game to go, you wouldn't have started off on a subscription base, would you?
No. By no.
You just say,
no.
Well,
right.
we just wanted to see for a minute. No. That was, and you wouldn't have had people, it came on even on our show and said, nope, we're a subscription all the way. Now all of a sudden we believe in free to play. Well, of course you believe in it. You believe it's going to bring people back to the game. So yeah, you believe in it. But the way you're trying to say like this is what we've been wanting to do all along, it's not, and you know it, and we all know it. And so let's cut that out of the door. Let's cut that out of the presentation. I mean, obviously, I know you're trying to keep confidence up, BioWare, EA, but really. Let's get back to the honesty, the transparency that you guys had at the beginning, because that really worked for you, especially as a community member. I need that and a lot more of that. All right, so let's go ahead and move on.
Wait! I have to say this. The only way that it could have been more comical, we believe in the free to play, is if they had had a lifetime subscription purchasable. Okay.
Oh man.
Return.
Let's talk the minute and a half video, which highlights the new content on the way. And let's talk about the new race, the Cathar. Right? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the name, right?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk the Cathars, the new race that they're going to be adding on. Comments on Cathar being the new race.
I really think it was a choice that did make sense. I thought it was a good choice. I didn't think it was a bad one. I'm a little disappointed it's only one race, but I will take what I can get. But yeah, the Cathar's great. I don't think it's going to be too difficult to do. There's no language lore issues there. They're really cool looking. I'm sure there's a lot they can do cosmetically with them. Yeah, bravo, good job.
I know some people in my guild are really looking forward to Cathar. Specifically, one of my friends, Drama. He's been waiting for it. He keeps on talking about it, time in, time out. For him, at least, this has been like the greatest thing ever, and he's been so excited. He actually liked the Gamescom presentation because it had Cathar in it.
There you go.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Denver, what do you think? Cathar.
I think the Cathar almost got ruined for me by... if anyone remembers when you play the Trooper, okay, and you go in and the first Cathar that you meet is voiced by the gentleman who plays the lieutenant in Psych.
Yes, it is.
And I immediately went, oh my god, it's Lassie. And I just, from then on, I was like, it's him. He's talking to me. It was such a distinct voice, and I was like, now the Cathar is just kind of like laughable to me. So it's interesting, and I think it'll be a big draw for most people. But I was kind of hoping for Voss. Ooh, if I can say it out loud.
You can't, because I was going to hope for the same thing, to be honest with you. I was hoping for Voss, too, because I think lore-wise it makes even more sense than Cathar, because you've got a planet dedicated to him, and they literally spend the whole planet realizing we're not sure which side we're going to pick. So it completely sells it to me, and let alone the thing I loved about the Voss, too, was the fact that they have their own gear. I mean, if you saw some of their armor sets, they had their own like little armor sets they were wearing, too. So you could attack that into the game as well, into some adaptive gear. So that would have been really nice to see. I agree with you. Surtas, what do you think? Kitties?
They're okay. Are they going to be on both sides?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I have another alternative to the Cathar that would have been a good choice. I'm just saying, pandas.
Oh,
See, there you go.
I mean, seriously.
I actually do have a thought about not so much the Cathar choice in particular, but the choice to only put one race in there. Because what's going to happen when it launches, we're going to have a whole mass load of Cathars running around. And it's going to kill the cool factor really quickly, because when things are really popular, it kills the cool factor for it. It just does. That's what gamers are. The more rare and less popular it is, the cooler it is for whatever reason. So having more options, see more new races, hitting the scene right away would have been nicer. But I mean, that's not to take away from the Cathar decision. It was a good decision.
I get the logic of it, though, because here's, I see what the plan is, I think. We're going to launch this free-to-play. I guarantee you when they launch the free-to-play, the Cathar comes with it. So that way the subscribers are all rolling new tunes and going back to the starter worlds to help out, and they're going to run into who but the new people who've jumped back on free-to-play and started new characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so there's definitely a plan there, and then everyone will be like, "Wow, how'd you become the cool cat?" Oh, you got to pay a subscription to do it. And you know what I'm saying? It just screams, And I think it's a good idea. I mean, it's a great idea because if I'm gonna get a whole new influx of new players, one thing I really want, I want people to do in my game. I want my community to go meet them. So this might actually be the way to do it. Have the Cathar, and so that way I'm starting all over again as a Cathar, and then I'm meeting the other new people coming in. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe it's not. I don't know. I could be wrong there, but I like the choice. I mean, it's okay. It seemed safe. The Cathar is a safe choice. I was hoping for something a little riskier like Voss, but
I think that's my problem with it. Is that it seems safe.
Yeah.
And it just seems like, hey, we can add this, let's add an exciting new race to Cathar. Woohoo! Okay. Can we get maybe 2 races, one on each side? How about that? And since we get a new world, I get that. That's pretty cool. We get a new operation. That's pretty cool. Can we get another PvP Warzone maybe? That'd be pretty nice. Are we getting another one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And
I must have fell asleep on the presentation.
On the name.
My bad. Well, I mean, then it's such a great thing if you're blanking on a name. I do see that we're getting new space missions, which is cool. the problem with it is they're putting out new content, but I really don't think that they've hit the sweet spot with how much. They need to put out slightly more in these updates. And I think these updates would stand out more, they're just right on the cusp. Put a little bit more in there, BioWare, and I think you got a winning combination of content and amount of time between these patches.
Denver, give me your thoughts on this stuff.
I don't know. I think they're gonna have to really push content for sure to be able to fix what's wrong with the game. But
this is my question. I've heard 4 times now, 2 articles, stand-up presentation, and I think a video. More frequent content. When? I keep coming back to that. We're going to do this more frequently. When are you starting? I would sure like to know when you're starting. I mean, yeah, they say, okay, next month we're gonna start pumping all this stuff out. Okay, cool. Then what's the window between that and the next jump? I mean, I'm just curious. I'm curious, and I'm almost wondering let me ask this question. I have never seen an MMO have to put out so much content in their first year. I mean, really. Has any other MMO... Did World of Warcraft put out this much content in the very beginning?
Rift.
No.
No, not at all. And so let me ask you this question. Are they getting themselves trapped in a cycle they're not going to be able to get themselves out of?
Yeah. Rift has put out a lot of content in the first year, but, I mean, in my opinion, Rift was... they had a lot of good content in it. And there was, the whole dynamic thing with the Rifts opening was pretty cool for a while. And then it kind of got boring because it was the same Rifts every time. And so you run over there, oh, a Rift open, yay, let's go over here and kill stuff. Okay, I'm done. Get back to questing and leveling. And then, oh, another Rift open. Wow, oh, this is new and fantastic. Ooh. But they're adding content. I would much rather them go 3 months between content drops and add more than trying to put it out every 2 months.
I disagree with that. I think they should definitely be adding content in smaller bunches more frequently because you got to keep our attention at this point in time. And the problem is that you put that big dump out and we have to wait 3 months. In that 12 weeks, everyone's going to kill all that content, and then they're going to be like, now what? And are they going to be willing to wait another 3 months to do it, for another piece to come out? So, I mean, I think the idea of more frequent drops is a great idea. I'm a huge fan of that. I'm wondering about some of the content, though. Oakley, get in here.
Well, just to give you my thoughts on the previous topic here, where they're getting caught in a cycle, and it seems like they're having to put a ton of content out.
Yeah,
I have a theory on why.
Okay,
and take this for a grain, with a grain of salt, and I don't want to turn this into a 3-hour show. So I'll try and do this as concise as possible. But here's my core issue with the game: it's the content that they put out. It's not the fact that it's not big. And, there's not enough to do. That's not the issue. It's the fact that there is very little incentive to do a lot of the content that's already there. And if for some of our older listeners, you'll remember the PAX East interview that we had with one of the developers.
Yep.
And one of the questions was, does BioWare have any plans to incentivize the PvE content outside of class story quests? And they said no. And they went back to that, we don't want to grind in the game. Well, do you know what? Having a grind in the game means that you're going to have more time in the game and that you are going to go to some of the content that you may have skipped over in order to unlock certain things. And for those of you MMO players, you'll know what I'm talking about. But they don't have that in this game at all. The only thing that takes you back to previous planets and previous stuff is the datacrons.
Or the community events.
Yeah, the community events as well. I think those are spectacular.
Which is great.
I don't have
they're awesome. I am a huge fan of them. I love this last one, the Shevin. I just finished that one last night. I loved it. Cal, everything you said about the Shevin quest last week was so correct, dude. It was right on the money. You hit the bullseye. It was a beautiful event. I loved it.
It's a theme park MMO. It's impossible not to have some type of grind. I mean, let's just be honest with it.
Sure.
It's a theme park MMO. So trying to avoid grind, don't make a theme park MMO, no more grind.
Right, but now we're getting back into we're trotting across old ground now. So I want to ask a question
sorry
about the content. No, it's okay. I want to get back to the content itself. I love the new operation. I think it looks great. I love the new Warzone. I'm a huge fan of it. I think that looks really great. I got to ask myself this question though: is it too late for space? Did they wait too long to pop out space missions?
I don't think so. I think space has its fans. It is fun, even though it's on rails.
Okay.
And adding more to that, they had a lot in there. So adding a little bit more, I think it's a pretty good idea. So and who's going to say no to more content? It's another way for you to gain coin. It's another way for you to, maybe get some more faction, maybe get some more gear, stuff like that, upgrade your spaceship some more. So I think it's fun. I think it's a good addition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is it late in coming? Yeah, you could probably argue that. Is it unwelcome? Absolutely not.
Okay. Denver, what do you think? Too late for space?
No. It's never too late for space. And if you, in my opinion, if you want one thing that's going to bring people back in, you launch a huge, well thought out, well vetted, well tested space experience for people. And I think that's one of the things that could turn that game around for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Well, I'm looking forward to these new levels. I'm wondering because we've heard them say they've hinted to it 1,000 times. We got really big plans for space. Now, this new 50 plus content is going to tell us whether those plans are on hold or not. Is it the exact same on rails scenario, or have they changed it a little bit? This is going to be a telling time for us, Old Republic. I mean, and I'm not trying to be down, but I'm trying to be realistic. We've heard a lot of things from. I mean, let's really be honest. We've got two BioWares that we've talked to. BioWare that launched the game had all these great plans, the Wall of Crazy, all this other stuff they were going to do, and now we're dealing with BioWare, who's going into a free-to-play market. They've changed their business model inside of the first 8 months their game's been out, and what plans for the game's later development have changed because of that. And I'm really curious to see. And I think that 50-plus space combat is really going to tell us a lot about that. Well, I don't know. So last but not least, let's just round it all up. I mean, all the new content they're promising, I mean, I don't know. I'm excited for about half of it, to be honest with you. There's some pieces of it that just don't really grab me right now. But especially being a level cap. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm really excited about doing space again. Maybe I will once I do it. I am excited about the new PvP Warzone. It looks really interesting. I want to see what they do with it. And I'm excited about the new operation. I think it'll be fun. I noticed they didn't really talk a lot about the new dailies going on Belsavis, though. Did they, Cal?
Not that I really heard. They were just focusing on the... I would say they were focusing on the big things, but then they were also talking about the space missions. They better be some really big space missions if they're taking one of the big focal point spots.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just hope it comes out soon. I guess I'm excited about it. Are you guys excited about it a little bit? I mean, Denver, are you excited about the new content coming to Star Wars: The Old Republic?
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you get more, it's going to be fun to explore. And certainly I do think it's nice when they put this large set of content out that you're getting a little PvP, you're getting a little PvE, they're kind of doing everything. But if they had done this out in drips and drops instead of as one large thing, don't you think it would have kept people engaged over a longer period of time rather than wait 3 months, drop a huge ton of content, wait 3 months? I mean, I know that's kind of been the World of Warcraft model for a long time, but look at how long it takes people to dominate an expansion in World of Warcraft. Takes a long time. And if this game going in did not have enough content to keep people engaged for as long as an expansion in World of Warcraft does, something went wrong. And I don't know what it was, but something was not thought all the way through, because it should have taken easily that long for people to get to the highest level content and defeat the highest level content before they had new stuff out. I mean, I know we've got raid groups and things like that have been together for a long time, but they lost a lot of the hardcore players, I think, for that exact reason. And hopefully some of this newer content will start bringing some of those folks back.
I think honestly, in the end, when I look at, I've always had a hard time putting my thumb on what happened. And I don't even know. This is, I guess, and Certas, I put you down a lot for the numbers you pick, but I guess I have to agree with you too. Part of me asks, hard to put my thumb on what happened, but it's almost kind of hard for me to put my thumb down. Has it actually happened yet? Because 1 million subscribers is just nothing to laugh at. I mean, that's a huge amount of people playing your game, and I almost wonder if sometimes if EA's not even overreacting, or if even us as the media and as gamers aren't overreacting it. Okay, so they lost X amount of players. Now, granted, their loss was huge in a short period of time, and they cite that their issues were people leveled to max level faster than they anticipated. Well, and I guess if there's anything that I could put my thumb on, if anyone ever says, well, whatever happened to Star Wars: The Old Republic, I guess we'd have to say what Oakley said. There just wasn't a grind. That was what it was. I mean, it sounds goofy as all get out, but maybe that was it. I don't know. But in the end, I gotta say, huge fan of the Shevin community event. I want to put that out there. I think that was great. I think it was really great, the new content that's coming. I am excited about the space, I guess. I'll get into it, once it shows up, I'm sure. The Cathar having a new race is not a bad idea. And, I think that if BioWare would have done this during their Gamescom presentation, they would have sold me 100%. Not that we believe in free-to-play, but they would say we believe free-to-play is the future of MMOs. Because I do. And I think that Star Wars: The Old Republic is unfortunately become our example that the subscription model is just not viable anymore.
Do you think it's a good idea for BioWare and or EA to come out and say, hey, look, this is why we went free to play. This is it. These are the exact reasons we went free to play. Do you think that would be dangerous for them to do?
Do you? I don't think so. I
can't think of one. I mean, we can speculate all day long, but if they came out and said, "Hey, look, we lost a lot of subscription,"
sure,
we lost a lot of subscriptions in a very short period of time. Mm-hmm. We felt that trend was going to continue. We had to do something,
right?
I mean, that means that they are worried about their game dying. That's good.
Right.
I mean, that means that they're doing everything that they can to save the game. I mean, there's in my mind, no negatives to that.
It would take them. It would also take them back to the beginning where they communicated with the community, where they had the guild summits and they talked to when they say, "This is what we're doing here. This is what we're doing here. We're passionate. We're excited." It's okay to say, "Dude, we lost a crap ton of subscribers and we got scared." That's honest. People can understand that. People respect that.
Certainly.
And I agree with you 100%, Oakley. That's exactly what they should come out and do. It would be so refreshing for somebody to come out and say, look, we got scared. We thought the trend was going to continue, and we went to free-to-play to try to save this game. I'm sorry, but that's a decision that we made. We know it irritates some of you. Hell, we know it pisses some of you right off. But guess what? We're trying to save something that we believe in, and hopefully you'll see our passion and you'll come back. And I think that'll bring back subscribers.
But wait, hang on. But the thing is they're not trying to save the game. They're trying to save the profits. That's what drives me nuts, is that this decision was, again, like I said before, was motivated all on the profit side of things and not on whether the game is viable. Like, I think that this seems like very short-sighted. We're making a very big decision in the history of this game and doing it based on 40% of the people that left said they would come back if it was free, or that the monthly subscription was the problem.
Yeah.
I get that, but don't you think that maybe giving it a few more months would have been a good idea with all the new content coming out? So now you're going to put all the content out as it goes free to play and try to hope that both of those things at the same time draws everybody back in? Don't you think it would have been easier to stop the hemorrhaging earlier by putting new content out? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Where are you at on that, Ivan?
I think part of the problem is, and this is where part of the issue is, and I think, maybe right now I got to take some responsibility for it too. Let's look at any press I've looked at for Star Wars: The Old Republic in the past 6 weeks. Whether it's about new stuff coming out, whether it's about going free to play. All of it's got a negative spin on it in the end. Let's be honest. Everything's got it like well, they had to do this because they're hemorrhaging players. Well, they're doing this to try to get players back. Everything is all about trying to frame Star Wars: The Old Republic in a state of panic, which I'm not sure that's where they're at. That commercial that we got done railing on, because let's be honest, it is cheesy. It is a sign to me, and this may sound very strange to all of you. When Warhammer Online was going south, EA took their hands off and said, to the south with you. I mean, let's be honest. Warhammer went down and they just said bye. They're putting out a commercial for Star Wars: The Old Republic. They're not giving up on it yet, which means it seems like, are they trying to save the game, or are they trying to maintain status quo of being able to develop and put out content? I'm just not sure yet. It's just, I don't know, Deborah. This is a really weird area that we're in with this game. It's a strange area, and the only people that can clear it up are the only people who aren't talking right now, and that's the unfortunate piece that I come by.
And I know, I know it sounds like, probably if you're listening, I know it based on my previous comments about what I think about the free-to-play model and everything. It sounds like I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, but I'm really not. What I'm saying is, I think the free-to-play model is what they need to fix the quote-unquote problem that they have, but I just don't see it as a problem. That's the difference. I don't see 1 million subscribers as a problem. I don't see 750,000 subscribers as a problem. If you're above where you're making profit, as far as I'm concerned, they should be giving it time to grow and content to grow. And then once you've got maybe 2 more little expansions out, added on a whole bunch of new content, then start a massive media campaign and try to bring as many people in as you can with that. That, we know you guys loved this game. We know you love this game. But here's what you told us was wrong. The GTN was broken. We had Ilum that was completely broken and they killed off. We have not enough raid content, not enough people. We heard you. Here it is. And then do a massive thing that says, come back and try it for a month free. Maybe you don't have to go free to play. Now, do I think that, again, like we've talked about, everything's going to go free to play and that'll be the model? Yeah, I do. So I think that ultimately this was probably an inevitability. But right now, it just seems a little hasty.
For me, I wonder if it's not this. I wonder if they just didn't run into, and I wonder if free to play didn't really come into the forefront. I wonder if Star Wars: The Old Republic didn't hit a soft market. And let me describe what soft market is. That's where you you're noticing your box sales are diminishing to the point to where the bean counters are coming back and they're saying, listen, everybody who was going to buy this game pretty much has bought it. So you're not going to really see a lot more box sales in the next year. And maybe that was one of the big deals for them to go free to play, is that maybe the box itself was hitting a soft market, and they said, well, listen, you can keep gutting the price on this thing, but you're not going to pull anybody new in. Everyone who's going to buy this game has bought it. So now they say, okay, well, let's just go ahead and take that barrier out of the way, and now you can just download the client and jump in the game. Maybe now all of a sudden it becomes not such a soft market for the game anymore.
Yeah, but I think that they're missing a transition in there. That would have been the first way to sell it. Not, we're also going to tell you that it's free to play every single month. Say, look, hey, the box copy, you don't have to pay for that anymore. Now it's only a subscription. Try that first, and then have to go to the full free to play. I mean, again, I think we've pretty much hashed this topic out as far as it can go.
We've killed it as far as it can go. Yes.
But it seems like their progression, as I say, it seemed a bit hasty. It seemed a bit quick.
It's fast, yeah.
And it seems like maybe they had some of this ready, though, because the speed at which they were able to say, hey, we're rolling all this out and we're doing it in 2 months. That seems like maybe they already had this as a contingency plan at some point.
Plan B was already in place.
Yep.
There is something that we're missing in all this. Even before Star Wars was coming out, there were a lot of people questioning whether or not there could be another big AAA title that has a subscription because of WoW and the things we've seen in the past with other games like Rift and Lotro and all these other games. People were already saying back then and questioning, can Star Wars really do it? We don't know. Maybe they should release free-to-play. And while though that is just exacerbated by the issues they've had more recently, but I think the pressure was already there beforehand, and that could be why they were kind of preparing that contingency. And that could be what's causing all of this to blow up so much right now.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's hard for me right now to, I get the media perception of the game because everything is so rapid. It just seems like BioWare and EA are spinning. They are reacting quickly to any shifts here and there, and that might also lead to this perception that things aren't going well. Is wow, these are a lot of radical changes in a short period of time. And I'm not saying I'm against the free to play model. Actually, I'm all for it. By all means, SWTOR, go free to play and get some players in there, get more new fresh blood in there. I think it's a great idea because even if we might have some issues with where the game is right now, I've got to say this: it's still one of the best MMO communities I have ever seen, and new players need to meet these people. That's just my opinion. But I think in the end, I think they're trying to do all the right things, but there's still, for some reason, there's this black cloud lingering over them. And I'm not, and if I'm, possibly, adding to that, my apologies. It's not my intention, but honestly, I'm realistically looking at things right now. And I'm just, I guess I want to see when this stuff's, I want to see this new content launch. I want to get a taste of it. And then then we'll start talking about it. I want to see what the game's looking like. Cause it just, for me, I guess it feels like we've been in a holding pattern now for a while.
Indeed, with little hints here and there of, oh, here's what's to come. Oh, look what's going to be happening. Right. All right, get serious. Either release it or stop talking about it, one of the two.
Real quick, though, before we go, we got to say, hey, we lost JB there. So he was our guest. He was actually the shortest guest we've ever had on the show. So, JB, thank you so much for coming on the show and contributing to the intro. We'll get you next time, buddy. And this is the Community Cantina, where you, the listener of Old Republic Radio, get to guide the show. So here we go. Take two, says Joshua Paxton. Hey, guys, it's Josh again to respond to your last podcast. With add-ons, what about how that add-ons created an amazing ability for other developers to make other game mechanics, which are in Star Wars The Old Republic, that the users wanted a part of the game? I mean, things like targets, symbols, also quest direction. Also, which you haven't talked about, the auction house. I know that BioWare has worked on the GTN, but after dealing with WoW and Auctioneer, I feel like I have a crappy lookalike, a real crappy lookalike, that is in some parts better than WoW in its 2.0, and now cross-faction stage better than 4.0. I know that you're scared of a DMG meter, but I feel like I would be less upset as a paying member if I had an add-on to let me respec easily than having me wait for them to decide that it's worth spending time to install in a dual spec feature. Secondly, the free-to-play model. Blizzard is working on Titan and a free-to-play. See image from Q1 2012 conference call. Third, new question. How do you think you should deal with groups if you are a little intoxicated? And by a little, I mean a lot, where you might fall pass out. Love your feedback, even if I don't agree.
As someone who always groups while heavily intoxicated, have fun. Because it doesn't matter.
Wow. Let's go back to the add-ons. Denver, does he have a point there with add-ons?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that came out of the add-on market that people created that were a boon to World of Warcraft specifically. I mean, that's where it got really big. I know there were other games that kind of allowed it and had, other things going on, but the amount of customization that actually allowed, not only the UI, but specifically what he talked about, Auctioneer. That's one of the things that I miss. And for those of you that never played World of Warcraft, Auctioneer was an add-on program that some third party made. And what it did was it scanned the auction house, every auction that was in it, and it gave you realistic prices for whatever it is that you wanted to put on there. All you had to do was go in at the beginning of the day, scan the auction house, do that for about a week, and then it had built up enough data that it knows what linen went for example. This is how much it costs. So when you went and tried to put stuff on there, you could take a whole stack of it, put it in Auctioneer, and it would create the auctions for you at the price it knows that you can make money on. It knows will sell. And so it was simple things like that, again, not a huge deal, but if you're somebody that plays the auction house a lot, that's a great tool that doesn't exist outside of an add-on. So again, I think add-ons are a really solid thing. The only problem is the reverse of that, when they're not. When you get an amateur programmer that doesn't really know what they're doing, that kind of creates something that works, kind of doesn't work, and then you install that, and customer service, the very first thing that World of Warcraft customer service tells you if there's something wrong with it, have you shut off all your add-ons? Have you shut off any third-party applications? That kind of stuff. And that's a big problem for them. So it's good and it's bad. I see the good being very, very good, probably outweighing the bad. But again, when you add in damage meters, you add in threat meters, the content is created to match those tools because they know that they're out there. So, again, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I really liked add-ons. I was an add-on whore. I had a ton of them in World of Warcraft. My screen was unrecognizable, and I had stuff that, my character would turn a different color, or there'd be something that would pop up on the screen whenever I had a buff ready. And that was very helpful. So if you had a proc, it would have some big thing would come up and it would make a noise on your screen that said, "This just procced." I missed that. So, you know what? I'm going to fall on the side of add-ons. Yep, I'm doing it right there. Took a stand. Deal with it.
All right, cool. I love it. I think add-ons are a good thing, but I think you picked the negative right out of there. It's that amateur guy that when you put the add-on in the game breaks. Or it's the guy who doesn't keep up on his add-on to follow all the updates in the game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now you're like, oh, my game doesn't work. And then it's just like, nightmare after nightmare. And, you get into such a slippery slope with them. I agree with you, Denver. I think what they should do, I would love to see BioWare just, find a handful of them from WoW who were reputable. There were some reputable people out there throwing add-ons out, and I would just contact them and be like, guys, here's the code, make some add-ons for us. Give some people some exclusivity to it, and protect it a little bit and see what happens. But I don't know. I mean, that's what I would do. I would try to get some people that are reputable to throw some add-ons in there, and I might really do a lot for the game.
Indeed.
All right, let's move on. Hey, OR, great show. I'm excited for more PvE talk. I have been doing dailies for a while, and I have plenty of credits, so I'm interested in... Oh, I'm sorry. Let's answer the last question for Joshua. If you're really drunk and in a group and you get kicked out, don't get pissed off. You're drunk.
And
yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
And the easiest way to do that is, again, as we've always talked about, proper communication. Preface with... I am blasted, and at any time I might fall asleep on my keyboard. So if you just see me posting walls of text and I'm not moving, just kick me out of the group.
Boot me.
Yeah, and don't... Go ahead, Cal.
Oh, I say play the drunk pug drinking game. Have a drink whenever they yell at you. Have a drink whenever you get booted. No, that's a waterfall. Finish your drink. You can just make a game of it. Have fun. You're drinking.
Yeah,
and you're playing a game.
Yeah, and don't feel bad about kicking that drunk person, because you guys would not believe the amount of times we've kicked Kel out of our groups. It's just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
It's true.
Kel the pug troll. Wow, that's real community building for you. Real glad you're part of ORR. Thanks for getting the good word out there, buddy.
Well, I think for Cal, we kick him not necessarily because of the drinking. It's more because of the crying.
That's true. That's true.
True.
I mean, he gets mad at you, then he starts crying. I've never seen anyone cry in text before either. It's absolutely amazing.
You promised you would tell them.
Well, it's now been told. Let's move on. Hey, OR, great show. I am excited for more PvE talk. I've been doing dailies for a while, and I have plenty of credits, so I'm interested in getting augments for my bounty hunter power tech, tanking main character. Do the best tanking augments for a power tech tank contain aim and plus endurance, or is it better to get the plus power and plus endurance, or something different?
I know nothing about power techs at all.
Yeah,
it would
go
depend.
ahead,
It would depend what spec. I would say first and foremost, but most likely if you're rolling DPS, I believe going with the aim and then a crit surge is your best bet, because I believe that they have a lot of burst potential. But I'll be honest with you, my power tech's not very high, so I might be saying something wrong.
Well, I think he said specifically tanking, though, right?
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
then I would focus endurance and aim. That would be my recommendation. Power is going to get you a little bit of damage out of it.
Yeah.
And again, depending what build you're running, if you're doing any sort of a hybrid build or something like that, you could be focusing more towards that. But yeah, endurance and aim are going to get you a long way.
I think the thing that we get caught up in too often with this game, and tell me if I'm wrong, Kel, because I know you screw around with augments like no other, is do we sometimes just lose sight and get too intrigued by these the more secondary stats than by just focusing on our main stat?
Well, really, I think when you're at the highest end of play, you really do need to focus on those little stats, because it's the little things that make a difference. At the first, though, you want to focus on your primary stat and then one or two secondary stats, which are the most important for you. Don't worry about everything else until you're trying to do hard mode Kefis.
Yeah, I would say my recommendation, obviously you're a tank, so you do want to focus on endurance as long as you're not sacrificing your aim.
Right.
And as far as the secondary stats go, power, don't even worry about it. Power is not going to help you.
No.
Make sure your accuracy is at about 100%. You don't want to be missing. And then from there, you want to focus on all of those defensive secondary stats.
Yeah.
Those are really going to be important. And then you need to also, there's going to be great guides on the internet, depending on your spec and which gear sets you're kind of running at the moment, and those will help guide you as well. But power, don't even worry about it. Accuracy, at least make sure it's 100%. You don't need to go over that, because it's, again, pointless for you because you're not focusing on damage. And then from there, everything else is defensive secondary stats, and you're good to go.
Here's the second part for him. He said, for my alt-operative medic, my Ricotta gear has more plus cunning than some of the black hole upgrades, which contain more endurance. Do I still want to upgrade even though I lose some of my main stat? In Nightmare EVKP, is it necessary to have that extra endurance, Kel?
Alright. Not really. This is where it's kind of annoying. This is how I do it for my characters. What I do is I go through and identify what black hole and campaign. I go through and identify what's going to be my best enhancement, my best mod, and my best armoring. For me, it's going to be what has the biggest willpower, what has the biggest power, and what has more surge. Then I will go through and identify what pieces have those mods and enhancements. And I will get those pieces and I will pull out and pick and choose what I want and put it into the gear that I want. Anything I'm not using, I'll send to my alts with Bind on Legacy gear, and I'll just break it down for either recipes or materials, which I can use to get more augments, or more enhancements. For the armorings, you just identify what pieces have the best armoring for you. Sometimes it's going to be a campaign piece. Sometimes it's going to be another armoring that another spec within your own class is going to be using. My own agent is mixing up with the sniper and melee DPS gear for agents just because it has the better armorings.
Okay, good. Thanks, Cal. All right, so I want to move on. This is our this is gonna be our last email for the evening, but this one, boy, get ready, all of you, for the hammer that is coming down from Dessen. Dessen, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read the last paragraph of your email. Here's what it writes. One thing I've been asking myself is why the game failed to meet the mark. Obviously, something went wrong. Subscriber numbers don't lie. I played Final Fantasy XI for way too many years, and that game is the definition of grinding and low reward for time spent. Now, it's the complete opposite in Star Wars The Old Republic, my friends, and I can play for 2 to 5 hours and get lots done and feel as though our time was not wasted. I also really love that I can just play on my own if no one is around. Whereas in Final Fantasy XI, there was very little content you could do by yourself. Most content required 6 to 18 people to accomplish, needed 6 to level, which I remember those days. That was very punishing. This got me to thinking, is that this game is too easy and that you can do most things by yourself and that people burn through the content too fast. That's behind the reasoning of why it failed. Are we, the player base, victims of our own asks? As we believe the majority of Star Wars The Old Republic players are in our age demographic, 30 going on 15, and we wanted playable content that fits our time versus reward, and let's face it, I believe Star Wars The Old Republic meets that, content drops aside. Would love to see, content drops aside, did we ourselves as players set BioWare EA up for failure by asking for the game to be easy to play with little time sinks and solo content, when really we still crave that challenging time sink for little reward? Where we need to return to the same instance time and time again for a chance at that one item. And if they were to change to a harder, needed 4 to 8 people, big time sink, low reward, would it be detrimental to the game? If, say, they make new content where you needed to group and party, huge time sink, return 10 times to get that one item for people just to be able to succeed, would our demographics shy away?
All very good points.
That's a good one, isn't it? Boy,
it's a very good one.
Are we the ones who caused this? Wow.
I mean, that's a heck of a way of looking at it. Are we asking for, well, let's make it easier. We don't want to grind. We don't want this. We want it to be everything other than what these other games are.
Right.
But the games that have all that stuff that we don't want to see are thriving. I'm just saying.
I know, man. That is a good point. Deborah, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I've never thought about it that way.
Really well thought out. Yeah.
But I think what happened with Star Wars is, in terms of building it that way, I think that they locked themselves out from being able to have gear built that way because they wanted all the orange stuff, make the mods, put it into it, augment it. They wanted the look to be more important than the stats in the end. Mm-hmm. So they kind of locked themselves out of the gear grind of, oh, look at the new shiny, look at the biggest, baddest thing, and it's going to take you forever to get it, and you're never going to be able to get it. Your friend will have it before you because he doesn't have a job and he's got plenty of time to play. And they took that away and decided to go a different direction with it. And I think the problem is there is a certain level of engagement that occurs with a long grind, high reward for a long amount of time put in. There is a certain reward to that. And when you take that away, you have to have another incentive for people to grind that. And again, if you make the game too easy, that's a bit problematic as well, I think. But I don't know. I mean, I come from SWG, my friend. I mean, there's the epitome of long grind and little reward. You had to put in ages and ages of time to get anything done, and that doesn't really bother me. I'm not afraid of that. But I think,
and we loved every minute of it.
Yes, but I think what you have to do is you have to make the grind not seem like a grind. And that's what people haven't figured out how to do yet. There has not been a game that's been able to say, like, what I would equate it to, and maybe these guys will finally do it, is Elder Scrolls. When you played, let's say, Morrowind, okay, if any of you guys ever played that, there were all of these different things that you could go and do, all these storylines and all these quest lines and everything that you could go and do, the vampire quest line, or you had the dragon quest line, or all these different things, and they were long and they were difficult, but there was a big reward for doing them, and you leveled your character up at the same time. But there's a ton of these, and it didn't feel like a grind because you're going to all these different places and you're seeing all these different people and it's all new content. If somebody did something like that and they take the grind out of it, but you still have to put a lot of time in to complete each one of these lines, that would be a very significant change, I think, for MMOs, because it's usually to go and kill 5 pigs and bring me back the heads. that's tough to not just call that a grind.
Yeah, I am going to agree with Denver. I'm going to add a little bit onto this. Is that we don't play games to be rewarded. We in the sense that we don't play to get the reward. We play for the journey. Because here's the thing: if we did that, the game would just give us a bunch of stuff at the beginning of the game, and then, oh, here you go. Here's a bunch of toys. Go have fun. There's no fun there. But when you have to work and work for something, that journey is what's entertaining. I think a lot of people don't really get that. But imagine if you were given a full set of Ricotta gear or a full set of campaign gear right at the beginning of the game. How fun would the game be?
Right.
It wouldn't be at all. Why? I mean, you have the full set of armor given to you. That's not what's fun. It's getting to that point. It's working and overcoming that goal, which is you can't have this armor until you've gone through this operation several times successfully with a full group of people and had to overcome these challenges. And then will allow you to have a piece of gear. That's what's fun. And to a point, of course, the grind is good. Now, you can have too much. You know, if it's not rewarding enough for the time you're spending, that's the other side of it. It's just pointless to do. But it's that journey that's really entertaining, and the more that they can do to kind of make that enjoyable and make that meaningful is what really is good for a game.
Well, and take it back to shooters. Old first-person shooters, console, PC, doesn't make any difference.
Mm-hmm.
Think about, it's the God mode argument all over again. Should there be a God mode? And is it even fun if you play it in God mode to just go through and smash everything when you have all the power in the world to be able to just, like, there's no stakes. There's no,
right.
You know, there's nothing on the line, and you didn't have to do anything. You didn't earn anything. But I think that, you know, to your point, Oakley, the grind is the fun, but what makes it that much fun is that there's a big payoff in the end. Is you
yes,
put
absolutely.
A boatload of time in to get one thing, and when you get it, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, and you're one of very few people. The exclusivity of having that item or that whatever it is what continues to draw. Look in again, harken back to World of Warcraft. If you go into any main town, the top rating guild is going to be there. They're going to be in the best rating gear. They're going to be on the craziest mounts that only like 7 people have, and they had to put 1 million hours into and kill a boss every single week for 1.5 years to get one. And they're going to be sitting on it going, look at how awesome this is. And you're going to go, oh man, I wish I had that.
I wish I had that.
I wish I had that. And that is what drives people.
Or there goes the slash, or you go to the slash tell, how did you get that crazy mount?
Exactly.
And then they tell you, like, then comes the 3 paragraphs of how they did it, and you're like, oh, well.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to see, but that's.
I'll just take a screenshot.
And see, that's the point, is that when you do it right, it can cater to everybody. You can have enough solo play for everybody to handle it, enough group play for everybody that wants to do that, enough raid play for everybody that wants to do that. But you have to have the top tier, upper echelon, almost unattainable stuff that requires a load of time. Otherwise, it will not engage the highest level players. And if you don't have them involved, it's just, I think that starts to trickle down, and people go, well, you know, look at all these guilds that they don't even want to play this anymore. And that can be a problem.
So with that, let's go ahead and call last call here in the Community Canteen. As always, please email us at oldrepublicradio@oldrepublicradio.net. We'd sure like to hear your thoughts on the game, where everything stands. And again, thank you all for those of you who have written in. We are going to get through all the emails for August still to date. We'll probably get through a few of those again next week. So with that, let's go ahead and close up this show. That was Old Republic Radio broadcast number 44. Hey, we're sure glad you joined us this week. Thanks for coming along for us. Sorry, we probably sounded a little nitpicky this week, but, you know, occasionally we get there. Unfortunately, that's where we're at today. As always, please come to the website, oldrepublicradio.net. You can follow us at Old Rep Radio on Twitter. And as always, email the show, oldrepublicradio@oldrepublicradio.net. I'd like to thank Denver Drew, Oakley, Certas, and Kalindell thank you for taking the time, gentlemen, this evening to share your expertise on the game. Certain members could not be with us tonight due to other obligations, and we completely understand that. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank you for coming on to Old Republic Radio, and we'll see you next time. Bye!